What's up everybody, welcome back to another drawing tutorial. So today I'm going to be doing Pain from Naruto. It's the version he's all beat up from his fight with Naruto. So so he's got like ripped clothes and sort of scratch marks on his face and stuff like that. So it's directly from the anime. So he's like kind of looking up at Naruto coming out of the meteor that he has him sort of bound into. So we're up in the top half of our page, just up here. So we find about the middle, up in the top half, and come across and we'll start with the right eye. So we're just gonna curve a line up this way first. Up and around like so. Then we just bring across the bottom eyelid. Across like this. And then join them up to the corner just there. And then of course if you wanted you can thicken up that top eyelid. I would suggest a pencil for these guys and hit pause if I go too fast. Like so. Then in here we have his pupil, so like that, right in the middle. And then we have the Rinnegan. So we have a circle going around his pupil. So. And then we have two lines on this side. So one here, one here. And then 2 or 3 on the other side. So 1, 2, maybe one more just there. Right, so he's an eyelid line just above that, so we just go up and across like so. Just gonna make this a bit thicker here as well. And then his eyebrow, sort of simple sort of eyebrow coming right across. Just here, going diagonal up, like so. And then the other side of that eyebrow, and they're orange inside. Bring it up. And then we go diagonal across like this, and thinner on this end. Like so. So Naruto characters, their eyes are in proportion, so the distance between his eyes is another eye. So if you measure his eye, that's where the next eye is going to start. So about there. About eye distance. And then we're going to curve his top eyelid. So it's going to just curve up and around. Back down to there. Like so. Then his bottom eyelids comes down the side here, diagonal in, pointy at the end, and then across to the other side. Then in there we have his Rinnegan. So pupil first, circle around that pupil. Like so. And then lines around that. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and maybe one more in there. Then he's an eyelid line above that. Just there. And then his eyebrow. So just up here, across from this one, same sort of eyebrow, bring it across to about there. and make it pointy on the end, like so. Now, so then Pain has 6 sort of ridges coming down his nose, so those bars that go through. So we have a line just for his nose, just here. And then we have 3 boxes. So one just here. Next one just below it. Third one there. Like so. And then we've 3 more on this side. So 1, 2, 3. Like so. So his nostrils then are just down underneath that. So we do a curved line here, curved line here, and then his lip just in here, curving around. Serious looking character, so down turned mouth. And then his bottom lip line just here. Bring it across like so. And then pointy down like that. Then his chin just down here. So if you're checking your proportions, your nose is about halfway between the eyes and the chin, and the bottom lip is about halfway between the chin and the nose. So this is halfway between the nose and the chin, halfway. Eyes and chin, nose, bottom of the nose is about halfway. So then we're going to do the rest of his chin. So we'll go across like so, and then we'll bring his jaw up. So we're going to go up to here, bring it up to there. Same on the other sides. When you get to about across in the mouth, you're going to change direction and come up to about there. So then we have his sideburns, so his hair just here. So we have a spike for his hair just there, and a spike for his hair just here. And then his ear is going to come down around here. So our ear is much lower on his head this time. Usually your ear would be up here beside the eyebrow and the nose, across from there. But because he's looking up, his head is tilted up a little bit. So that means the ear looks like it's lower. So if you ever want to make it look like a character's like head is tilted back, just lower the ear a little bit. And then we have the inside bones and ligaments, just here. And then he's lots of piercings and things inside as well. So the other ear, we'll do the piercings now in a minute. So we have the other ear, same position, lower on the head. His bones and ligaments inside there. And then he has a bar that runs right through his ear to out the bottom. So he has a box down here, square box up here, and then a black bar that comes down through his ear just there. I'm going to go ahead and color these in black so you can make them out a bit easier. I'm going to color these dark too, just so they stand out a bit more. Of course, I think they're grey in the anime, but they're black in the manga. Then he has 6 piercings on his ear here, so 6 sort of boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then this other bar running through his ear here comes out the end, comes out the top, runs right through his ear, and then 6 piercings just here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, so he has a fringe coming across his head, so it's like 3 spikes on each side, and then joined in the middle. So we have a spike just here, spike here, another one just here, comes down over his eyebrow, and then 3 on this side. So, and we join them in the middle then. And then his hairline comes across here, so we have a bump coming down to here, and the bump that comes across that way. And then he has a bit of a line just for hair here, bumps that way, bumps across, and we can see some hairlines in here as well. So just coming across into here. So then we'll draw his neck and do the rest of the hair that comes around his face, because he's got some hair behind his head. So we're going to go neckline here from his jaw, neckline here, and the other jaw, like so. And then his hair that comes around his head. So he's got a spike this way, 3 just there, and then we're going to go the whole way around his head. So spike in like so, spike out, spike back in, and go all the way around. When you get to the middle, we're going to change direction and go down this way. So spike out, spike back in, spike this way, back that way, that way, that way, up here. So now we're going to change direction. All the way around, coming down his head now. So we have neck muscles just in here, just lines for his neck. One there, one about here. And then he's got a necklace that goes the whole way across his, just around his neck here. So it's got sort of diamonds that come across first, and then there's all circles inside. So if we do the diamonds first, coming around in a sort of circular kind of way. So one here, next one here. These sort of long spikes. One bang in the middle. And then maybe just one just here. So then he has little circles just all the way inside. 1, 2. Joining all these. It's like a chain. Now, so his shoulder then is going to come down this direction. We'll leave a little bit of a gap here because he's got some spikes sticking out. So just a bit of a gap. And then you're going to leave a gap here. And it all the way down his arm. So I left a gap because he has these things sticking out of his shoulder. You could leave the gap anywhere. It doesn't really have to be exactly where I put it. So it's like a box with a circle on top. And then we're going to curve this around the bottom like so. Then we do another one here, so 2 lines. Like so. Skinny circle on top, an ellipse. And then an edge down the bottom like that. He's another one just sticking off his arm here. Like so. He's another one on his chest, but we'll finish the other shoulder first. So his other shoulder comes down here. It's going to go underneath his ripped clothes. So we have like ripped wavy line for his cloak. Is the Katsuki cloak that goes the whole way down. You know, ripped clothes don't have to be done any particular way, just make them sort of spiky and jaggedy. And then this comes back down this way, back into here. And then the bit of the cloak that goes around his neck comes out from here and curves up into there. Then his shoulder is going to come out from here and curve down this way. And then we have some fold lines for his armpit, just here. It's like a letter Y. And then there's like another sort of ripped edge to this, kind of just here coming down. Like so. And there's a red section. So this is red and here this is black. So now just his collarbone and his chest muscle and his arm just here. So collarbone, real simple, in the middle of his neck here, you're going to do one coming up that way, one coming up that way, and then they go longer. We're just going to bring this a bit longer here. And this one a bit longer. It goes under his cloak there. Chest muscle, come down to about here across from his tricep. So that's, imagine where his tricep muscle would be. And then that's the line for where his chest muscle would be as well. So different to Dragon Ball characters, not overly muscular, just sort of normal sort of figures. The other chest muscle is going to go underneath there. We have a line just for his shoulder muscle, where his shoulder muscle meets his chest muscle just here. Like so. Then his inner arm comes down that way. Move some lines for ribs. Just here. And maybe some lines for his abs. Just the top of his abs, just there. And then, so he has another bolt sticking out here. He's a real Frankenstein sort of character, so he's got lots here. Sticking out. And then because he is all beat up, we gotta do some sort of scratch marks just all on him. All over. Loads of them. It was a fairly intensive battle. Just gonna add a line maybe for a rib or the edge of his abdominal muscle just there as well. So loads of scratch marks, battle marks, little small ones. Something like that. And yeah, that's it. How to draw Pain all beat up. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.